thanks everyone for calling in. It's a pleasure to meet all of you virtually. And you can see the name of the presentation there. It kind of has a little bit of a donut theme. Just about myself real quick, I'm part of NCL, Norwegian Cruise Line. I've been a part of CAI before. I volunteered on the South Florida chapter of PMI, South Florida Tech Alliance. Also was a part of Royal Caribbean as well. So I have a lot of experience in cruising and also IT, and also with CAI as well. So, I mean, it's not about the donuts, it's about the people. So, donuts are a great way to break the ice, get to know someone as is taking someone out to lunch and, spending some time with someone outside the office. And it's more about the people. But, sometimes some people may disagree as far as the donuts go, a.k.a. Homer Simpson, who I'd say could probably never have enough donuts. So I think you've seen this before if you come from the project management side of things. It's the triple constraint or quad constraint if you include kind of quality in the middle. You have your scope side of things, your budget side of things, your schedule, as far as quality being in the middle. Sometimes that gets constrained one way or the other depending on one of the, infamous triple constraints. And then you kind of have this person, Maslow, that kind of came along and said, when you add humans to everything, you kind of have this hierarchy of needs. And regardless of the constraints of a project, people are a part of these projects, no matter which way you go. And maybe 10, 20, 30 years down the line when we have the autonomous or those part human beings we see in movies like The Avengers and Iron Man, things may change a little bit. But, at this day and age, if you're managing a project, there's somehow a component of people involved. And when we look at those people, we look at people's needs and wants and really understanding them. You kind of have the core physiological side, you have the safety side, love, belonging, esteem, self-actualization. And if we actually start mapping these to projects a little bit, or a day in the life of an IT office, or an office space, you kind of have the food side of things or eating donuts. People like to have a good job. People look at being on a good team. It's not just being an individual contributor. Sometimes people are very motivated and long to be on that team, that high-performing team. And then you look at, the team accomplishing things, the team achieving and succeeding and contributing to the goals and objectives of the organization. And then also people growing in their careers and moving off to new and exciting opportunities and what lies ahead. So one of the key things is, the point to really hit home is really understanding folks' needs and wants. There's a lot of different things that motivate people. I mean, some of it's money, some of it is the pat on the back, some of it is, being part of that team and having shared successes, and there's even awards and, Employee of the Month or Employee of the Year, and a lot of things that drive a lot of different people. Sometimes people like to challenge. Sometimes people are motivated by challenges. And one of the key things is really understanding your team's needs and wants, whether these people report to you directly, whether these people are matrix to you and a part of another functional team in the organization and possibly split 25% between your group and 25% between another group. It's, there's nothing wrong with kind of determining what the needs and wants are. And you can do that in a variety of different ways. Sometimes it's as simple as asking the person. Sometimes you could also ask others about the person. You'll find that, on your project team, typically if it's more than a handful of people, you'll have varying tenures. You'll have people that have been around for a few months, possibly people that have been around for years, and even people that have been around for decades. So, sometimes it's as simple as asking others, and sometimes it's observing the person, looking at their behaviors and looking at what motivates and drives them. And, it's always good getting people out of the office. It's a nice way to kind of take down the walls of what surrounds you from a transactional and a day-to-day perspective. And really the key thing is making a connection with the individual, really having them understand that, you do care about what it is that they need. You are aware of what it is that they want. And, it could be more than just accomplishing the goals of the project. It could be the recommendation that comes after the project to that person's resource manager or to your management if the person reports directly to you. Then, you can see just throughout the course of time, there's just so many different ways that you look at food, if you will. Like, what a great way to make a connection, whether it's bringing in donuts or whether it's, donuts with Nick or bagels with Benny or just, whatever with, different people. You can see that throughout the course of time, there's always this connection with food. Whether it's a historical connection, an entertainment connection, a literature connection, religious connection, it comes back to, it's a great way to build the bonds with the team. Projects are typically challenging. They're temporary efforts. They're something that always has a beginning and an end. And, you can kind of sit back and see that, people are very busy. People want to be successful. They want to see the project be successful. They want to see the team be successful. And, it's a great way to kind of, get people together and really understand what it is that drives them, to help kind of push them from the softer side to accomplishing the goals of the project, as opposed to, being on time, being on budget, and being to scope, which obviously are the key fundamentals to project management, but don't lose sight of the softer side. And then, like I said, the donuts, it's a simple connection. There's a science behind it. There's a physiological component to it of what it means to eat something and digest that. People see the appreciation. We see how excited Homer Simpson gets when someone brings him a donut on The Simpsons. And you'll see the same thing if you bring in a few dozen donuts on, this Friday when you're, coming into the morning and the team is, gearing up for the last day of the week. And then, also the bond that occurs. But in some cases, people are more concerned with the money, so it may not be about the donut. And this could be more like understanding the needs and wants, something like gift cards, something like team building events, something that is more monetary in nature. And it just kind of goes back to the understanding of really what really drives those individuals. Really the key thing is focusing on the people. It's your people, not your processes, that are going to help you and your project succeed. And it's not just with project management. It's everything that we do as IT professionals. And, kind of moving from that good to great and becoming that great IT professional is understanding these things like more than just project schedules, more than just requirements documents, more than just the mastery of Excel and PowerPoint or Visio or the different tools that we use to be successful in our day-to-day. It's more than just the communications. It's more than just the statusing. It's more than, the ultimate success of the project, because somewhere along the line, the people are an integral part of delivering it, and you're also delivering it for people, whether it's employees of the company, whether it's internal or external stakeholders or customers or customers of customers. And it's really just, a lot of what we do really comes down to the people. So, it's about not losing sight of that. And, kind of taking it a step further, we'll talk about the difference between coaching and mentoring in a moment or two. But, look at the coaching side of things. Look at these individuals that may or may not be a part of your team. The matrixing of individuals from a project and program management perspective is incredibly prevalent throughout the industry, whether it's domestically in countries where people reside, like myself in the United States, or, other countries like Europe or, the Asia-Pacific region or Australia. And it's just, no matter where you are, the matrix is very prevalent where, even if someone doesn't report to you directly, there's no reason why you can't coach that individual. There's no reason why you can't help develop that individual. There's no reason why you can't provide feedback to that person's direct manager, to your manager, to get back to those individuals. And just on a daily basis, help coach them be more successful. The totality of the success of organizations sometimes is more than just one project. Sometimes it's multiple projects or multiple projects that make up a program or multiple programs that make up a portfolio or multiple portfolios that make up the livelihood of a company. And when we look at coaching, it's, actively listening, really, listening to what the person has to say. And, a big part of that is not really talking. It's letting them talk. If you hear yourself talking more than the other individual, then obviously, you can do a better job with that listening. But actively, sometimes you listen with your ears and sometimes you, listen with your eyes as well by observing someone's behavior. Building the person's confidence. It's almost like the sports analogy where, there's a team, and whether, you're all dedicated to one single project or if you're dedicated to a variety of efforts across the company, there's a lot of confidence to be built. And then also just the growth of the individual. You'll find that, like I said earlier, you always have the junior, the mid-range, and the senior folks on any project team. And one of those things is really to understand what drives those people and what they may be good at, helping them see what they may not see themselves, because as we know, sometimes it's very hard to see what's right in front of us.